Coming to you from Project 4 Studios in sunny Burbank, California, ArtSchool Records presents On the Green Couch.
Hey, you're on the green couch. How you doing?
Oh, I'm good, thanks. How you doing?
Hey, congratulations, Raz. We got a review on Apple Podcasts.
Wow. Okay. Read it.
Had so much fun listening to this. These hosts have voices for radio and faces for TV. Can't wait to hear what you do next. And that is from JC. Thank you very much.
JC.
Listeners, if you want to write us a review and give us a rating on Apple Podcasts, you may be read on the air as well, like JC was. Thank you, JC.
Well, that was actually better than I was going to start with a factoid, a fun fact, but
Tidbit.
a little tidbit of information.
Did you know
Did you?
marsupials have two-pronged penises?
Yeah. See, now you just big timing me. I just like
Fact.
fact. Yeah.
Share your fact.
Okay. Well, let me preface this. Like I've been playing guitar for many years, and
News.
I actually started really late. I started when I was 28 years old. You know, so I picked up an acoustic guitar and I just started playing and writing songs, and I kind of played the guitar, and that's kind of fine. My philosophy is like, you know, a guitar player is someone that plays a guitar. You don't necessarily have to be like the guy that shreds and does solos to be considered like a guitar player. You know, as a guitar player, you play the guitar. So, anyways, and I kind of held that philosophy up until about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I kind of woke up and I thought, you know, I'm going to learn to shred. I'm just going to learn to shred, and that's going to be my thing. It'd be a neat party trick to just walk in and I always thought it'd be cool, like, you know, when there's like the pianos that are outside or in like a big ballroom, if you just knew like one song, like I thought like if I could learn Benny and the Jets, I could just walk into like the Biltmore, you know, they have like the giant piano in the middle of the thing and just kind of play Benny and the Jets.
Yeah.
And, but piano I could never get piano. So when I was playing guitar, I'm just going to learn how to shred. And I thought, what would be the equivalent of like a Benny and the Jets type of thing, right? So I thought to myself, well, I will learn the guitar solo to Flirtin' with Disaster by Molly Hatchet.
Nice.
Right. You know, because growing up, we would listen to that. I remember being in my friend Wally's garage.
Yeah.
And we have like the record player. We'd listen to the garage and we'd play that song, and he could air guitar it perfectly.
Oh,
He could air guitar.
nice going, Wally.
Nice
Great
going.
skill set. How's that worked out in the job market?
I don't know what happened to Wally, but he would make, you know, he would make beer. He would make homemade beer in his in his garage. Yeah. So, and he would like, you know, he'd start the whole thing, and every October we'd have Wally Brow.
Ooh, Wally Brow.
Wally Brow.
That's a good name.
Wally Brow.
Probably not the best beer.
No, it was terrible. Because, you know, he would get the make your own beer kits off of, like, it was at the
Out of
back.
the Sears Roebuck?
No, like you in the back of a magazine like Popular Mechanics, you could get
Oh,
like
sure.
you could get like, you know, you could make your own hovercraft out of out of vacuum parts, but you could also get like a beer making kit and make your own beer. So
Have you ever done that?
No.
My father did it a bunch of times.
made beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, how was it?
I don't know. I don't drink anymore.
Oh, yeah, you don't drink anymore. Yeah.
So, but he was pretty pleased with himself.
Wally did it covertly because we were still like, I think at the time, like 15,
Nice.
you know?
If there's a time to make your own beer,
Right. And I just remember that Wally Brown tasted terrible, but oh man, we would get completely. It would like shut us down.
Definitely tried on a number of occasions to grow my own weed, and was living with this guy. We back east, you get basements, right?
Yeah.
And we had like a little closet underneath the stairs. Turned it into a little grow room. So there was always this sort of like the briefcase and Pulp Fiction light coming out from this tiny closet at all hours, and but it's like two plants, and we smoked so much goddamn grass, and so we would get really impatient, so we would do all this like bootleg ass shit, like when we were trying to have it ready like sooner, we would like put it in the toaster oven to try and dry it out.
Yeah, no, yeah, I did that growing up too. We'd put it in the microwave. You don't know.
Who wants some steamed weed?
Yeah, no. That's kind of like when growing up, you just try those things. Going back to like Molly Hatchet,
Yeah.
we were talking before we started rolling, and because in one of our recent interviews, it kind of came up.
The one with Hawk?
The one with Hawk, yes. We were talking, she's into classic rock, and I told her the story about that, and she had never heard the solo, and as it starts, it's pretty simple. I was like, oh, I've been, this is the solo that I want to learn how to play, and she's like, oh, it's not so bad. It's not so bad until it starts going, and she's like, oh.
That's why I never learned the rest of the guitar solo for Hellbent for Leather by Judas Priest. I can do the finger tapping bit at the beginning, but nothing after that.
Right. Just so you know, I can play that solo like half speed. I have a little thing that slows it down. I still can't get it up to speed. But before we started to turn the mics on, I just thought to myself, was Molly Hatchet like a real person? Because she was like, you asked me.
Oh, yeah. Was it a Lizzie Borden
It was
thing?
a Lizzie Borden type of thing. And apparently, and that was going to be my tidbit, that Molly Hatchet was actually a real person. Well, according to Wikipedia. So, it's true.
That's where I go for learning.
19th century prostitute that would cut off the heads of her Johns.
Praying mantis style.
Yeah. So there you go.
Grim.
Yeah, that was my long road to getting to a tidbit that probably wasn't very interesting to begin with. I mean, it's better than a beef. Like, I always have,
What you got? You got beefs? You got bits?
I got bits. I got beefs. I don't really have any at this moment. Yeah.
All right.
But I'll have some.
One of these days, Raz is going to get all beefed up.
I'm gonna get all beefed up, right? Yeah.
So tonight on the show, we have this Los Angeles-based ska band, MATAMOSKA.
Yeah, they were a lot of fun.
MATAMOSKA? I'm a little too blanco to be able to say it the right way, but
they were great. And the one thing that I really liked about them is Dixie, who does all the booking.
Yeah.
Always asks, guests if there's any treats that they would like, just let us know. And people are always like, oh, just water is fine. So they're like, oh yeah, coffee and donuts.
Sweet.
And it was great.
It's a very high functioning snack. It gets you kind of like jacked up on sugar, so you're animated for the interview, but also no crunch. Doesn't show up on microphones.
No crunch. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Was it them who said like, if not coffee and donuts, then like chips and like guac? It would have just been like, oh, so we started as a band.
Crunch, yeah, totally, yeah. Yeah. And to me, that's one of those things that, as we do this podcast, like learning those things, because, admittedly, you and I, the whole reason why the podcast started was like, oh, we should start a podcast. And it's like, again, my contention that great things happen was like, fuck it. Right. So yeah. So, some of our early interviews, there were, chip moments and, nuts.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So, but when, cause I edit, I do the editing, and the donuts were like great because, like you said, there's no
No crunch.
crunching. There's no crunching, but just having like, there's something about having like an open box of donuts, on a table. It either means that it's a good day or it's a bad day. Because I used to work at a place that when there was donuts on the table, somebody was getting fired,
Oh,
right? And so that was like, you kind of walk in and it's like, oh, the donuts are here. Someone's getting fired. But there's been other places where you walk in and you're like, oh, donuts. So
that was like a consolation for us. They at the Newberry Comics warehouse, if we had to go in early or stay late or something or work weekends, they'd for our coffee break they'd get us Dunkins.
right, yeah, and it's like it's a general nicety,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it kind of brightens up your day if someone's like walks in, it's like, here, have a donut. And you're like, and you're not expecting it. You're like, oh fuck yeah, donuts, right? So that's why I like MATAMOSKA. I like that, because they were like, well, let's get some donuts. Why not? Let's get some donuts and talk.
And it gave me an opportunity to drop into my favorite donut shop in Los Angeles, Mom's Chinese Food and Donuts on Silver Lake Boulevard, just off the 101.
There you go.
Good friends of mine, Heidi and Henry. And anybody who's interested, they're the donut shop with the paintings of the chickens on the side, across the street from Song's Auto.
That was a plug for Mom's Chinese Food and Donuts.
That's my hood, yo. That's my donut shop. That's my mechanic.
Oh, there you go. That's kind of like the two things that you need in life. You need a good donut shop, or a good treat shop, and you need a good mechanic.
Still in business, going strong. Song's Auto, across the street from Mom's Chinese Food and Donuts.
There you go. Double plug from Bill.
Double plug.
Double plug.
I'm just into local businesses.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah.
Listen, we like our reviews on Apple Podcasts. We love it if people go to the ArtSchool Records website and buy merch and buy albums. We're totally willing to take sponsorships too.
Yeah.
If you would like to advertise on our show, get in touch with us at podcast@artschoolrecords.com.
Yeah.
If you're a sponsor, maybe you just want to tell us to go take a long walk off a short pier. I don't know. But if you want to get a hold of us, that's how you can do it.
Because I'm not proud, but I do want to say that my Molly Hatchet anecdotes do not come cheap.
What?
I don't know.
No, I'd love to get a sponsorship from like Stories Books and Cafe.
Yeah.
Or Mohawk Bend.
What were those places again?
Stories Books and Cafe, Mohawk Bend, Mohawk Alley Veterinary Clinic, or Animal Hospital. What other places would be good places to get sponsorships from? Permanent Records, Amoeba sponsor us.
Let's just do the whole intro of lists. It's a listicle.
Who would we love to get money from?
Right.
I figure if we want to get sponsorships, I'd like for it to be sponsorships products that I know, appreciate, and would be comfortable vouching for.
Yeah.
I don't drink anymore, but you better damn believe if Guinness offered us a sponsorship, that I have tested enough of their product to know that it is of value.
Well, I mean, I drink exclusively Woodford Reserve here at the podcast. That's Woodford Reserve.
Podcast at ArtSchool Records. Get in touch.
So, yeah. I don't know where this intro has gone, but we'll go back to like MATAMOSKA.
Yeah.
Talking to them, it made me realize that I've been in LA for 30 years and I never knew that there was this like ska scene in LA, because that was kind of like my first question was like ska, like, okay.
You mean like real big fish?
Right. Well, even, growing up in Boston, there was a ska scene.
Yeah.
And there was some, I knew some ska players and stuff like that. And there were bands that you go, oh, okay, yeah. It's to me, it seemed like an East Coast type of music, things just have a certain sound and you go, just for me, it just had that, like, oh, it's that kind of Boston.
It's a style that was trafficked much more heavily in the Anglosphere.
Yeah.
And Los Angeles is a pretty distant reach from that.
Yeah. So, yeah. So when they brought it up, I was like, oh, I was like, well, how long has this been going on? They're like, oh, like a long ass time. And
Yeah,
I'm thinking,
they've been a band for like,
like
10, 15
15
years.
years.
Something
Yeah,
like that.
right. Yeah. So it's apparently a very robust scene, and to me, it was a really great surprise. Much like the donuts, right? Finding out that there's like finding out that there's like this great scene of music
hmm
that I had no idea was happening. It was kind of like coming into this studio here and seeing like a pink box of donuts on the table. You're like, oh, this is a nice surprise, and I'm going to now enjoy this.
Let's enjoy this. Let's listen to a little bit of MATAMOSKA, and then we'll jump into the interview.
I like you guys first and foremost because you asked for donuts,
Yeah.
but I think donuts are going to be kind of a staple.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of nice.
It was a safe call.
Did you make the call?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a safe call.
That's a good call. Okay, so on the green couch we have. Let me see if I could say this right. MATAMOSKA, is that it?
Pretty close.
It's pretty close.
Okay,
Yeah,
how is
that's
it
it.
supposed to be pronounced?
MATAMOSKA. MATAMOSKA.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just said it like a white guy.
You said MATAMOSKA. It sounds like a very nice car.
Yeah, don't get too down on yourselves. That's how I say it outside of LA, so people understand what I'm saying. So we're like in Indiana, and they're like, "What's your name?" I'm like, "MATAMOSKA."
Yeah,
And
MATAMOSKA.
it's about translate a little bit better.
Don't hurt yourself. Just,
But it sounds like it. No, it sounds better with the accent. It really
Yeah.
does. Right, and we only have two of you on mic tonight because we can only afford two mics.
Yeah.
But introduce who else is in the room.
this is Jose Padilla. He's a singer.
To his
singer
right.
guitarist. Yes. To my right, sorry. I have a bad sense of direction.
Yeah.
My left is the old guitarist, Jose Morales. And then my wife is over there, just sitting in the corner telling me, no, don't point at me.
What's your name?
Remy.
Remy.
She plays the crucial part of emotional support. Crucial.
All right.
Oh yeah, no. Behind every great man is a woman pushing.
It's so hard being in a ska band. It's so hard being in a ska band.
Yeah, like all the ladies are just flocking to the ska band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, why ska?
Yeah, hold on. Can I back up 1 second?
Yeah.
It's 2019. Now, why ska?
Well, I think I'm kind of like a cusp of millennial, not really so much into millennialism, kind of generation guy. So I grew up on ska from like the 80s, 90s and stuff like that. So it kind of just stuck with me. So it's one of those things, it's those genres, just like punk, when it kind of just sticks to you and you kind of bring it with you. And the music is just, it's different. So you kind of ingrains in you. And so like in the underground there's this kind of like music scene that's hasn't really left. It's just kind of stuck in the underbelly of LA. So it's always like in either houses or, really divey bars. And we play like ska music where, we didn't really have that many venues. And like kind of never really played the house blues all that much. But
Right. So
or
you just
anything like
make
that.
your own.
Yeah. So it's kind of just been around since the late 90s.
And to put a finer point on it, the style of ska you guys play is what is in the scene referred to as, would I be correct in saying like a third wave style sound? Like it's a very punky sound.
It's very hard to translate. Like I think the best way I could describe like MATAMOSKA sound, or at least what I'm striving to say, it's like a little piece of like all the aspects of LA and OC. It's like we have like we have third wave, we have ska, we got ska core, we have punk, we mix jazz, we mix swing, we do like a hip hop thing, and like rock en español. And so like sonically, musically, and even culturally, we're a blend of like our Mexican American roots with our upbringings with like English music, and then like we still keep bringing influences in from like our childhoods and now. So like to me when I usually write a song, I try to think about that. I don't try to like stray away and do something that's like super out of our element like pop or something. I try to like stick to something that correlate to, our cultures as Mexican Americans playing English music and Spanish music, but with different styles. Yeah, like so in general, LA would be like third wave ska punk, ska core. Well, with Matamoska nowadays, we just try and break out of that to make something that's more culturally appropriate for the Los Angeles setting.
I'm just going to break real quick,
Yeah.
and we'll get you a mic. Yeah, now we actually added an extra mic for
The other Jose.
the other Jose Morales, because you started to chime in,
Oh, thanks.
and
Sorry.
so we figured we should give you a
Oh,
mic.
thank you.
so.
Appreciate it. I feel bad.
But no, don't feel bad.
Yeah.
Because as I was putting the mic together, you guys were talking about your influences and
What we classify as.
yeah.
Yeah.
LA has like, honestly, I think you could probably make a case that LA has the biggest ska scene in all the country, to be honest with you. So there's about a handful of bands, like 15, 20 bands, that make up the LA underground ska scene, that's ska core. And within those 15, 20, each one has their own style, or I like to call them flavors. So you have like the reggae ska, like you would in English, but they were primarily, they speak in Spanish or they sing in Spanish, and they only play at local watering holes or backyard parties or
shows, yeah.
stuff like that. So you have the reggae Spanish ska, you have like the metal Spanish ska, you have like the hardcore band that has trumpets. You'll have
The reggae band that talks about marijuana.
yeah, the
every
political
single time.
reggae band, you know, like the Spanish version of Revolution kind of thing, and then like us, like we've been called like Spanish Aerobic Fish, we've been called Spanish, what else? Spanish Seafarers, Spanish.
We're like the third wave.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was rough for a while, but then if I can remember, eventually there was enough ska bands where promoters would start thinking about doing all ska shows.
So does everybody in the band contribute, like in the writing process, or does like one person come in and go, "This is kind of
It changes.
It ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Yeah, this like sometimes he'll go on a writing streak, and then we'll just go with whatever he goes.
They give me the writing freedom where I can write something, and it's like super personal, and they don't have reservations against it.
Yeah.
So.
If anything, some of the most personal stuff he talks about, it's moving for sure.
So you guys seem to be pretty productive, and you're very collaborative, and you're straddling a couple of different styles, which conveniently enough happen to be sort of understood, at least within the scene, as ska core, as enough of a name to let you know that it doesn't matter if it's if it's Cap Down, if it's Bomb the Music Industry, if it's like a certain Voodoo Glow Skulls record or something, it's like people understand that it might kind of go one way or the other, but you can probably guess that it'll land around this point on the XY axis.
Yeah.
All right. So when you're writing these songs, you're talking about like your lyrics are very, are they all autobiographical?
A lot of them are autobiographical. A lot of mine are. A lot of them are, there'll be something that it's fictional.
Which is your favorite one? Like you could say if they're from.
I don't have a favorite one, but I know people like Beer Goggles.
Yeah. Oh, it was weird because I've played that song so many times before I live, and then when I heard it, it's like, oh man, he's talking about
Beer Goggles is the song I wrote for my ex-wife to
Yeah.
take me back, and it didn't work.
Well, it's a cool song, man. Like, it's very catchy.
It's so romantic sounding.
Yeah.
Who would have guessed that wouldn't have been the thing that made it happen?
Yeah, it was a song that I say this live, and I tell people before we play it. I'm like, this song, I wrote it for somebody that fell out of love with me to fall back in love, and she said, after hearing it for the first time, she would rather have 1,000 days of fiery diarrhea than to get back with me. So shortly thereafter, I turned into a ska singer, and we played for these guys, and we.
So let's listen to a brief moment of this Beer Goggles tune.
this. I don't know how we've come to say that we were through. I don't know how you've been, maybe it's better off that way. Well, I'm working up the nerve so that I'll call you up to say that it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I got my beer goggles on. Hey, little mama, I want your love again because I got my beer goggles on. Yeah. You used to be so nice, you used to be so good. You used to laugh at all my jokes and you said you understood. I'm living like a rat cause you left me on the street. I got nothing else to give to you, don't want my company because it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I got my beer goggles on. Hey little mama, I want your love again because I got my beer goggles on. Yeah. You used to be so nice, you used to be so good. You used to laugh at all my jokes and you said you understood. It's not summertime cause the living's not easy. I know that you will never be coming back for me because it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I got my beer goggles on. Hey little mama, I want your loving again because I got my beer goggles on. Yeah. I got my beer goggles on. 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 I got my beer goggles on.
I will like 100% understand if you're like, that's like the worst 3 minutes of my life. I will understand.
No, it's
No, that was great.
a good song.
I'm just fucking around.
I was just struck how different your singing voice is from your speaking voice.
Yeah, that was inspired by our sound producer Dave Irish. He says that I sound better with the grit in my sound, in my voice, and so when we recorded at his place, I take a couple shots and.
Oh, he has the whiskey.
Yeah, he has the whiskey.
It tripped me out because the last album we recorded with Dave
It's not as hard. Yeah,
was different. Yeah.
Okay, so that's not your usual singing style.
it's a little harsher than usual. Yeah, but
Yeah.
So I'm really interested in the fact that, I mean, from a national standpoint, ska music is not, outside of Raz and I lived in Boston for like 7-8 years. Raz grew up just west of the city. Yeah. It's a city that still to this day loves its ska music.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you get groups like Big D and the Kids Table, Westbound Train.
Mind you, Boss Tones.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but that's what's interesting about it is that the nature of your scene seems to be sustained largely in the Latin community. I mean, you guys got down on the couch and you started saying like, "Oh yeah, it's all these bands." I'm gonna admit I've never heard of like any of them.
No,
Oh,
they
yeah.
just don't. They don't leave LA. So
Yeah,
most
And
bands
if
are,
you go, you would be like in shock because you're like, "Whoa, I didn't even know this scene existed." Yeah, and then
Yeah.
And
You
then,
try bringing a kid from like, I don't know, Florida or from Texas to the LA scene, and they'll be floored.
like Sanchez, right?
Yeah,
Sanchez,
they'll be our friend from Denver. He saw the scene like at its capacity, like 4,000 kids. He jumped on stage with us to play with our beer goggles with us, and he was like completely floored with how big the scene was. It was one room had 4,000 kids, the other room had 1,000 kids, the other room had 500 kids.
what I'm struck by is just like how it's sustained
Yeah.
in Los Angeles this many years. I mean, yeah, at the Knitting Factory in Manhattan, I went to 3 floors of ska. That was almost 20 years ago
Yeah.
now. There's no way that you could get something like
20
that
years
going.
for 20 years. Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? Yeah, I'm like I said, it's a science experiment, man. It's just we're riding the wave as much as we can, and then we're actually leaving LA and trying to kind of spread out a little bit more and trying to get that in the right.
So far, it's working out.
Yeah.
Yeah, how are you received in other areas?
Great. There's people in the Midwest, and they go out to ska shows, and they're definitely gonna go to support. So it's like the scene's out there, but it's spread out more so than it is in LA.
So once you make a fan somewhere outside of LA, you'll see that fan almost at every show you're playing.
So you guys are part of this really robust scene.
Yeah.
And you're talking about wanting to branch out. Like, how do you mean that? Do you mean like you're looking to develop your sound? Are you trying to come up with some new texture? Or is this more of like a practical band approach where it's like, oh, well, we haven't really been able to tour in Vancouver. We'd like to do that.
Yeah,
like,
it's both aspects, yeah.
It's a little
Writing-wise and then also touring, yeah.
As a band, like musically, we're always looking to grow. Every band has a tone, but we're always trying to be like, well, what if we have like put our tone into, like dip it into these, these other different styles. We just don't want to be fast ska, fast punk in English or Spanish, but we just do slow stuff, and then we do jazzy stuff.
I'm contemplating doing my first French song, so that's.
I think part of the genre of ska is you're able to kind of experiment with that type of stuff because you get into a metal band, right? You're in a metal band, and you write a song, and it's not metal enough.
Yeah, it has to be about cocaine or hookers.
Right,
yeah.
But even like in a rock band, inevitably the bass player walks in with a ballad, and you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
we actually feed off of that.
Is there any sort of like concrete like objective you're trying to like? Do you guys have a new record or anything coming out?
We're in the process of writing a new record. So.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, we're like mid process. We have
skeletons.
We have ideas. Yeah. Aside that, we're trying to we're playing that Supernova Fest in Virginia. With that, we might build like a tour around it. We're still in talks. We definitely want to do some international stuff. The last international thing we did was like a Europe run, like a year ago or 2 years ago. And so Europe might be an option, or maybe going to Mexico.
Europe was good.
Is that where the French idea came from?
Yeah.
Because there is a bit of a French ska scene, right? I mean, they're probably still listening to their Mano Negra records.
Oh,
yeah,
man,
Mano Negra, Tres Puntos.
There was this band that we played out with in Paris that was like a klezmer ska. They had nothing recorded, by the way. It was just like these misfit dudes from the outskirts of Paris, and when we were eating with them, they were like, "Yeah, we're just doing this to have fun." And
has there been a place that you guys been where you go, "Wow, I didn't know there was like a scene here"? Like Francis, one of those
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis is one.
Indiana. But that place has become personally one of my favorite places to play because it's like. I went there like with no idea of how it was gonna go. The first time we played, I was like, I'm playing Indianapolis, Indiana, because I became really good friends with Heath. It wasn't Heath first. It was my friend Craig from this group called the Circle City Deacons, which he's in the group. Mm-hmm. But I've known Craig only online, so it was like a chance take. My friend told me, hey, talk to Craig. He's a great guy, amazing guy. He's an amazing guy. I love that boy. And so this I was like, hey, we're trying to find this like filler date to go to Chicago. Indianapolis happens to be
from
the date.
Philly. Yeah.
From Philly to Chicago. Mm-hmm. Could we play like Indianapolis and then go to Chicago from there? He's like, yeah, I'll get you guys a spot. It's a Saturday. There's this really cool punk rock venue called the Melody Inn. They do punk rock nights, which is like super legendary. Every Saturday they do it like a punk rock show. And they have like their own built-in fan base plus like fans of the band. So we went there and I wasn't expecting anything. And we were playing with this like doom metal band. Remember Savage Remains?
Yeah.
They were like the Misfits.
We also played with some band from San Diego. What's it? We played
Some Kind of Nightmare. No.
Some Kind of Nightmare.
Yeah, something like that. And then it was the Circle City Deacons. They were like the traditional act. And I remember we went and then we played and people were just blown away. So then the next time we went, it was like they told their friends. So the
Yeah.
next time we played, we headlined, and it was like an almost sold out show by
I
ourselves.
gave like a local.
Oh, was I there too? Or
Yeah, you were there. You were there. Yeah.
I gave like a
Yeah,
It's
local.
like, was I there?
Yeah,
You were there.
we have so many
But
dates.
I drank that
we
day.
were-
We forget where we play. I remember one time there was like
Like,
a
I think I got drunk.
newscast lady that just showed up with not a camera for some reason. She's like, I'm from the
That was
news.
packed, bro.
And I'm just, cool, where's your camera? And she's like, I just brought my phone. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I gave her an interview on her phone for some television news.
They do
It's
that
weird.
now. They get rid of camera people and they just send people out with their iPhones.
That's weird.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It is weird.
So I did
Well,
that
I mean,
out there, which is weird.
It was a television interview?
Yeah. She was interviewing me outside the bar, asking, because it's kind of an. So, I can kind of fess up that I can, admit that we're kind of a niche, like Hispanic, ska punk, kind of like the way the way I see myself is like the way, not to give myself too much delusions of grandeur, but it'd be like Brad Brains, like black guys playing punk, like. You guys see brown guys playing ska music.
No, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
And in essence, that itself kind of gives you a niche. And
Yeah.
so, like, when you go to certain towns, and, and even in Germany, when we were in Germany, there was a guy in Germany asking us what it feels like to be Hispanic guy playing American ska punk. And I'm just like, I don't know what that means, man, but...
I'd be like,
it feels
first of all,
great.
it's
You know, there's like 60
Mexican
other
American.
bands like us back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like,
pretty great.
yeah, and then I really do try to preach the word of it, I was like, dude, it's just not us. There's like a bunch of other bands that are like, I don't believe you.
Yeah,
I don't
they've
believe
just never heard of it.
I mean, if
Yeah.
you're the first one they've seen, though, that's what's novel about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to admit that I just found you,
That's totally fine.
seriously, like what, a half hour ago when you walked in the door.
Yeah.
I had no idea who you guys were.
Yeah.
I
But
can just imagine.
I like it. I mean,
brown
I
kids
listened after listening to the song, I was like, oh, this is fucking great. This is
Yeah.
cool stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like a scene like I've been here since '89. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm pretty sure like the only like ska bands that you probably heard of was like Hepcat.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's kind of like the
L.A.
that's kind of like the LA
Oh,
the LA traditional scene that like
Oh, the acrylic.
like that was thanks to like a lot of label help that they got the exposure they have, but like we're like the
DIY?
we're like the DIY weird like backwards universe version and reflection of that LA ska scene, because we're finally like having this mesh of the LA traditional scene, the LA DIY scene, like meshing, and some bands are like, hey, bring some of these bands in, it's gonna work out, it's gonna be cool. Obviously, I'm pretty sure bands like Hepcat, they can see the potential, and then they know that our shows, go by the thousands nowadays. They're like, well, we want to get those kids to our shows too. How are we gonna do that? You have to get bands like us to play with you guys.
So I don't know. I mean, it's really cool. You guys have kind of opened our eyes to sort of the. Do you know where the thylacine is? It's the Tasmanian tiger.
Yeah.
It's a type of marsupial that they thought went extinct in.
Okay, I thought it was
in
something
New
else.
Zealand.
I thought it was a sex position. Sorry.
It is.
It can be.
Tasmanian tiger?
Yeah.
It is now. All right. So, back to this marsupial. It was an animal that they thought went extinct like 100 years ago.
Okay.
And then within the last couple of years in science news, I'd been seeing that people like, oh, somebody found like a thylacine skull on a hike. Like no sightings of like an actual one, but they like found a skull, and that's really wild. A couple days ago, news article published, 2 individual sources saw one live in the wild.
Nice.
So it's this thing that you guys have provided us with an experience rather like that, where, in the sort of forest of noise that is a diffuse centralist city like Los Angeles, that there was this thing that I was under the impression had sort of gone out of vogue, had not existed in a very robust, substantial way anymore. Turns out it is. It's mostly in Spanish, but it's still there. But
Yeah.
you'd expect something to kind of like change up over time too.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's really dope, and that's really exciting, and I'm really glad that that you guys came in tonight to be able to shine a light on it for us.
Yeah. No, it was nice because like the initial question was why ska?
Yeah.
And you just guys said, well, because.
Yeah, it's
Still-
pretty much
still
the,
Yeah, no,
alive,
the only
'cause-
reason we play.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and like Bill said, it is something that, I had no idea that, like I listened to the ska. That's
Yeah, the
so-
Ska Wool of Boston
Yeah, the
30
Boston-
years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I listened to the ska of Boston 30. That's so white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I didn't really even find the ska scene till like I got here when I was 25, and then I broke up with my ex. We were together for 7 years. So around 30.
That's when you started with us, right?
2008, yeah. Like when I started playing with, it was first Mafia Rusa and then with you guys too at the same time. So this is back in 08, and I was already like 32 years old. And I was like, what the hell? Like I never had seen the ska, like that scene that you guys are talking, like saying like, wow, like I was surprised. And
Well, thank you for making me feel better.
Where could people who are listening to the show find more about you guys?
We have a website, MATAMOSKA.com.
And that's spelled phonetically MATAMOSKA.
Yeah.
.com. Yeah.
That
Ska.
we're like we're a lot more active on like Instagram and Facebook. So we have our Facebook like page,
Mhm.
and then our Instagram we're pretty active there.
And everywhere it's just Matamoska.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what were you saying when you guys were walking in Matamoska? It means fly swatter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fly swatter.
Yeah.
Fly
Cool.
swatter, man.
So what's the name of the album you guys have out right now?
The latest one that we have is the full length. The latest one is called Ska Illuminati.
The baddest title.
It
The Ska
It's a
Illuminati.
concept album
It
about
makes-
the
it makes you
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, it's very checkered and it has like an eye, see an eye. It's very.
If
I
you
was-
see it closely, it says Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yeah,
I had to throw that in there.
Jesus Christ.
yeah, Ska Illuminati. It's and I got a lot of inspiration from. I was watching a lot of Alex Jones videos. not for information, just
For LOLs.
just
Info
for
Wars over there.
just to see what the other sides think. You know how the other side lives, kind of.
Are
thing.
any of you guys into conspiracy theories?
I'm not into them. I just like that they exist. I just don't really buy into many, but I'll read upon them. And I think of the band, there's Jovan would probably be the most.
But he's always just into like, maybe Epstein didn't kill himself, and I have all these theories to prove it. And I'm just like, okay. And then he'll be like, it just because we have an 8-hour drive, I'm gonna tell you every theory why.
Yeah,
and then-
he fills us in on a lot of
And
conspiracies.
yeah, and that's when we kick back and go to sleep. And he keeps talking, thinking we're awake.
So how many guys are in the band that travel when you guys travel? All right,
Seven.
let's back this up. How many guys are in the band normally?
7
7.
Okay. And do you take all the 7 with you guys? 7 guys?
sometimes.
Sometimes we can do 6, sometimes 8 when he joins us.
So we're about our size is 6 to 8. Depends on how much food we eat.
You guys have been like really fascinating to talk to. I mean, you've been a lot of fun. And,
Thanks.
just learning about the whole ska scene and everything like that
Mhm.
has been really eye-opening for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
You know,
man.
being in LA for almost
And,
20-some years,
30,
almost 30
yeah.
years, and not knowing this scene existed has been,
Yeah. It's been kind of sketchy. Some shows, we call them shows, but they're backyard events and stuff like that.
And they're legit.
No, and sometimes you see
Beer, hot
not,
dogs,
not just that, but like
weed.
sometimes they'll get out of control. Sometimes they'll get out of control, and you'll see police show up. You'll see helicopters. You see riot gear. You see dogs. You see
Yeah.
no, but yeah,
Yeah.
some of those events get
A little too rowdy.
They have an element of danger to them.
I think, I think that's the reason. I think that's kind of a reason why it pushes people away from the LA scene too. Some people are used to like ska shows being like fun, safe areas where you could dance and not get in trouble. And so like when somebody tells them or shows them how it is, they're like, "Well, this is kind of dangerous. Like, why did you bring me here?" Yeah. I remember I brought like my the first time I brought some of my best friends from Portland to an LA show, and so I told him it's gonna be a rough place. It's how it is, just FYI. And then he goes, okay. And when he got there, the cops came. It was raided, but there was like taco stands. There was like stands going on. It was pretty cool. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. That's just how it is in LA. And he goes, dude, I fucking love it. Like, when's the next show? And like next time we come back to LA, like, we want to go back to the next show.
Yeah, I'm with you on that because as you guys are talking, I'm like, okay, this sounds like a lot of fun. You know.
Yeah.
How about when we played that White House with the narco, like that 2-story house, and we played
Chiqui's house on
the
94th.
flatbed truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had tacos and the.
Yeah,
and
they have
the,
taco
and the
stands.
owner of the house happened to be like a drug dealer from like, you know.
Right.
Like a narc.
That's the show I want to go to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun, dude.
Those are the ones that you see. You'll see them on Instagram. They're a little bit less. They're not out.
They're on
You
YouTube.
You wouldn't see commercials or you wouldn't see Live Nation streaming those like events. Or anything like that.
Those
Yeah,
are
for
fun,
sure.
dude. Like those are like.
Right.
They'll make one hell of a show, though.
Yeah, but yeah. We'll definitely hit you guys up when we have
Yeah,
one of
hit me
those
up
things.
on like on the underground shows because Bill and I will go.
Yeah, definitely.
Matamoska, thank you guys very much for coming in to the studio and sitting down on the green couch.
This is definitely a green couch.
On the Green Couch is a production of ArtSchool Records in conjunction with and recorded at Project 4 Studios in Burbank, California. The show is edited by Raz, with additional production support by Dixie Trussell. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review us in Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. It all goes to helping other people find us. For more information, please visit our forever home on the web at artschoolrecords.com. I'm Bill Zunkin, and thanks for listening.